Well, welcome to how to make round ornament with an alternative hanger. Um, I'm a little few steps ahead. I wasn't going to necessarily videotape this, but I thought that I should, since I have two that I have to accomplish, and so here we go. So this has already been cut and darted, and I've already folded it under and done the steaming around the perimeter so that it all folds in and it's not too crazy for me when I go to put it around the foam core. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this picture. So this came with the instructions. She has other ornaments that look like this, so I'm kind of just guessing as to how this was achieved and the length and all of that good stuff. So let's get started. Okay. First thing I want to do is I want to make this hanger. So let me push some of this out of the way. And you're probably looking at all of this stuff going, Sharpie, Kelly, really? You bring a Sharpie out and you're, no, of course not. It's all about using this to give us this lovely roundish, it's not perfectly round because it's been a while since I've done jewelry making, and so you bring it up like that. Okay, so it's okay. I have not twisted it yet. This is a pair of Husky, it came in a set of like 6, and this has flat paddle. I sometimes use it to when I do the ends of my cording, I put hot glue there, and sometimes I smash it down so I don't burn my fingers. They have their use, that's for sure. So I am grabbing this right over the top. Yeah, I'm going to do it up. So this one is over the top of that one. I'm going to grab it, leave just enough room so that when I turn it, it kind of pinches it back down in. I'm not running against the previous, the side wires. I'm going to do that again if I can. I don't know if you can even, it's really hard to be able to show you on little things like that, getting in close enough without shadows. Okay, so now oh, cheese and crust. Well, there you go. That's what happens when you over tighten it. Lesson learned. Of course the other one goes better than this one. Luckily I have a spare wire cut. And of course this is the wire that I used. It's a spool. It's a fine gauge. Of course I removed the paperwork, and so I can't even tell you what the weight is, but it is quite thin. And you just kind of have to smooth it with your fingers to try to get rid of the curl of the packaged coil. All right, let's see if I can actually accomplish this time. I just cannot grab that with the tips of my fingers. So I'm going to push that up just slightly. I'm going to do it once. And I'm going to, because of where I'm grabbing it, it's driving the wire back down in when I pinch because I'm not twisting out this way. All right, so I moved it down a little so there's a gap. So this time hopefully I won't muck up the, there we go, much better. And yeah, I only did 2 turns on that. All right, then I would normally do these both at the same time, but I did one as a sample. We're going to kind of measure, bring it up a little bit more. Because it's harder to fuss with it. Yeah, it looks about right. But this time I'm just going to do that and hold that. Now I'm going to grab there, like that. Oh, come on now. Why is it? It went so swimmingly before, but when you go to videotape it, yeah, right. Yeah, that's pretty close. Now, I want to measure how deep the bead is. So I need, I think it's about a ½ inch. So I'm going to grab, and I'm just going to grab it there. I'm going to keep twisting it down, trying to keep that as straight as I can. I think that's pretty close. Okay. We bring these together and we slide our bead on. Now the people that originally did these probably are like, oh, Kelly, so not the right way to do it, but okay, I had to just kind of twirl that on. We're going to splay it again so that it will, see, I just bent it, brilliant. This is why we hold it with the paddles so that when we turn it, this stays straight. A little smoothing again. Not too horrible. There we go. Wire is an interesting option. It gives you a little lighter look to it. So then, and I did a little extra because I need a little bit of a gap for the cording to be able to go down in between. So yeah. Okay. And you'll see why I leave the little loop, because I'm going to have to, well, I don't have to. I want to give it a little extra, because if you just do it straight down in, it could potentially just pop right back out if anybody tugs on it a little too hard, because, you know, Little people don't always know their own strengths. Well, who are we kidding? Big people don't either. Okay, that is done. Our tricolored cording is ready. Here is our monogrammed piece. One of the reasons why I decided to not do a traditional round is because this is going to show you if you have one of the pieces that has a canvas that has the little gold rectangle at the top, or the top is so area is so small versus a traditional round, and you need to not have your cording begin and end at the top because of its shape, or sometimes I do this with like diamonds or rectangles because of just the way the top is. So this cording is going to be started and finished in a different place. So I need to leave enough room for the 65% rayon, 35% wool felt that I use. You can get it by the bolt. I like this for padding, nicer than a very thin, fluff. Or the stuff that I've used in the shaped ornament where it's really thick puff and I just peel a strip of it off. Batting. There we go, batting. I like this felt better. It gives it just this nice little bit of cush. And for beveling, it makes it so that you don't see any of the beveled edges. It just smooths it out just a little bit, but it keeps it nice and thin. This is 1/8" foam core, acid free, so that you know what I'm using. I'm so sorry. It's the spring and my sinuses love me. So I cut this one originally for this, and this one is it was way too small. And I was going to be pulling all of these edges over and burying stitching, and I didn't want to do that. So luckily we have this so that it fits. So this is a template that I have made up. I've made up a whole bunch of different ones. You can tell how old that one is. And I keep just a vast array of those. And I think this one's 3 and something. Gosh, I'm so not prepared for you guys. I'm really sorry. It was a really spur of the moment. Yeah, so this is 3.5 by 3.5. All right. So what I do is, and you'll see it when I do the back, is I put a spiral bit of glue to tack this on. Then I turn it over and I trim the edge. And you say, well, Kelly, you have a template. Why not use the template? Because I want this to come down over the edge. And it'll be short because of this little bit of a curve from the beveling, which I'm going to show you all of that on the back side. So I know I jumped ahead. My apologies. So let's go ahead and kind of pull these back. Slide this in. I have lots of fun tricks to teach you about how I deal with monograms. Okay, I'm trying to get this centered and make sure everybody is where they're supposed to be. Okay. If you are adamant about not using glue on this, you can pin it around the edge and then pin this and pin this to this. I've always used glue. There's plenty of, if you go to go and Google lacing, there's plenty of techniques for being able to not use glue, especially for round ornaments. But when I first started out, the person that gave me the samples that were old that they had, and they said, here, rip these apart and then you can see how the finishers did it. All right, I'm gonna do this side first because it has beads along the edge and I don't want to pull these beads too far in, and I can see it potentially might have been not quite as round. Okay, and then what we'll do is, okay, that's good. Now, what's really great is when you put the cording on, you can just gently push this forward and slide back in so you don't have to bury those beads. No worries. Okay, this is all set. Next thing we do is use a mechanical pencil so that I can put that lead like almost all the way in so I won't hit the needlepoint with it. And I trace around, even if it's a dot dot dash. Now, why do we not do this first? Just, we have this template, why don't we just cut this first? Well, the needlepoint is much thicker. We also made the foam core piece a little bit smaller to fit inside of it. So if I made a template the exact same size, or a back piece the exact same size as the template, there'd be a big overhang. Okay, now I'm not letting this up for a reason. So these round ornaments are never perfectly round typically. So once you draw around it, you need to mark which way is up. Now, I'm going to come along here and just kind of smooth out my edges a little. Most of it will be taken care of with the blade as I go around. But because of the French knots or whatever stitching, other stitching is here, and the beads, this side had kind of a wonky edge to it where I was dot dot dashing, where I was having to dot dot dash in between. So now we have that marked off. Start on the outer and just kind of pull your way in. Now I'm using ultra suede on the back of this, so it's not going to be really thick material going on this. So I don't want to cut in too far, or it will also not meet the edge of the needle point. If you have a problem with cutting foam core, look, as you can see, I don't get all the way through it on the first tack, always. But if you start having issues where it starts to chunk, fresh blade, fresh blade, fresh blade, fresh blade. Okay, so here's our back piece, but if you choose to use mat board, I still bevel the mat board so it's a finer edge where the two pieces meet, okay? And this is because then I got to cover the mechanics of that width or even the squareness of the mat board. It doesn't give a nice refined edge to where your cording is going to meet. It's my personal thing. Also, I would like to talk to you about using mat board and foam core. It's either one or the other. It's mat board on mat board, mat board on mat board, or foam core on foam core. Because what happens is, especially with signs, is that the resistance, I don't know if you've ever had a piece of mat board and how it kind of curves over time, and it doesn't lay perfectly flat unless it's piled up under a bunch of other things. Same with foam core. It's because if it doesn't have equal type of resistance, two pieces of mat board, they're the same tension weight. If you put the foam core against foam core is the same viscosity, thickness, they work against each other. So what happens when you put the mat board against, then a lot of the time what happens is the mat board will bend as the foam core curls a little over time. For lack of a better term, you know, there is a grain or something about the foam core that if it will warp over time, even, you know, sometimes smaller pieces, but mainly if you're doing like hanging signs, bigger pieces, you want to make sure to use mat board against mat board or foam core about, you know, against foam core. Okay, I'll get off of that now. So now comes the part that everybody groans at, but bevel, 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 bevel. And watch, this is how I'm holding it in between like this. This puts it at the angle that I want. Chunk it in. See how I'm kind of sawing it? I'm not just pushing straight in. I kind of saw at it until I get it started. And if I start feeling it resistance, like it's going to chunk the foam core on the inside and leave a divot, then I kind of work the blade to chop through that. I do know that there are some 45-degree angle cutters, bevel cutters that are like little handheld things that people have shown me at Hobby Lobby. I think they're, I don't know how well they work on rounds, but they do work on the straight. Okay, so now you can tell that this is a little larger angle than this side. I don't really care. You won't really be able to see it. Now I burnish down all of these edges just lightly. You can do it with your finger. You don't have to do it with the end of your X-Acto blade if you don't want to. Okay. All right. Okay. So now if I put this onto this, there's a chance that, or a thinner material, that you will see this bevel edge. So to take a little bit of the angle off, or the inconsistent cut that was around the outside, what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of our felt on there, and I tack it on with this. You don't have to. I just find that sometimes, and then press it down so you don't feel that glue when you pick it up, okay? And then I can come like this and trim the excess off. I do it in little chunks so it doesn't get too rough edges, chunky, you know. I'm trying to emulate the angle of the round, oops, sorry, ornament. Okay. Now, I have been as compulsive, you know, if you've ever seen the puffy ornament that's shaped, where I take and cut the batting down to shape it. There have been times where I'll come through and trim the edge of it. It really isn't that necessary because it does compress down nicely, but sometimes I have been known to be crazy that way. Now, oh, the fun stuff. Not only do we have this, we have a monogram. So I have marked out 1 3/4 all the way around. One of the things you want to be very careful of is, like, say you're using velveteen, you want to make sure that you're marking far enough out that you will see like pressure marks from a pencil unless you're extremely light, and even sometimes that doesn't really matter. So with my arrow facing the correct way, hold on a second. Gotta turn off my phone. Sorry about that. I basically kind of eyeball this, okay, to center it. And I pick it up. I hold it across like this. Okay. All the way around. Leave those pencil marks on the north, south, east, west to make sure you haven't slid outside of your centering area. This is obviously a very loose way to do this. If you haven't noticed, I am only hyper conscious about measuring when I do the window pillows. I feel like, yeah, that looks pretty good. Nippy scissors. Oh, the darting. Now, I am not going to do all of this immediately. I'm going to tack this these darts. Now I do 4 darts, 4 tabs, so that when I fold these over, these don't bow up, and you know, I want to be able to turn it now. And do a few up here. Okay. Do one extra because I didn't get really in the center there, I don't think. Or I got right in the center with the first one, I don't know. Okay. My glue gun is not really super hot right now, but trying to avoid hurting myself by sticking it in right away. All right, so we look at it now to see how well it's centered. Looks pretty good. We're going for it. Let the darting continue. The boring stuff. This this ornament deviates on approach in a couple of ways because of having a special hanger on it. We would usually make a separate 3-inch loop out of the part of the cording, then do the cording all the way, start with the loop, then do the cording from there and go all the way around. But this time, the reason we made the metal hanger first is because I am sandwiching it between these two pieces. So, boop. And I did not make the bow for the first one because I like making bows at the same time. It's a little, when they kind of need to match, it's just a little easier, I find, to have them be a little closer. In this picture, I did not, of this, the sample picture that I was sent, it doesn't really show the top, so I hope I got the round drop part correct. I don't think it wouldn't, I think it would have to have that, so sorry if I got it wrong, but just need some place to tie that bow to. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, so we have some pretty cool tricks to show on this. Recently, there was a discussion about having a needlepoint front and piece of needlepoint on the back. And I told people how to line up front and the back. Anytime you have a directional fabric, say a plaid or a stripe, you don't want the back to go on and be crooked, whether it's a design or it is a monogram. You don't want to put it on, everything on, and then spin it around to see that when you put your back piece on, it's just a little bit wonky. It's not a good thing, because now you've already got your cording on and you put the loop in and you go, okay, that looked okay before, now it's not looking so hot. All right. Now, we have a lot of centers to find on this one. Okay, So we know which way is up for the back. I am going to take a pin. It's a tiny bit off. Yeah, it's close. And I'm going to look at, okay, this line. Now don't poke it out here where you're going to see a hole later. That looks about right. And then looks about right. Up a little. Now you're not looking at the wonky end of my pin. You're looking at where it goes in. So I'm going to take this and kind of run it across. Yeah, that works. Okay. So this part sits here for now. And I'm going to choose the easiest straight line across here for this after this. But right now, I need to figure out where the center of this ornament is on the face, so I know where my hanger is going to go. Flip that around. And it is yep, there. So it is the N right up to right up the top. Oof, this glue is sticking to me. Something first. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's annoying. Okay. So now we know where, and we can kind of see if it's going to hang straight. Or do I need to take it over? Well, it's because of the heavy beads on this side. I'm just going to go by my stitch. In that area. Okay. With the metal, we're going to be able to bend it a little if we want to, but I don't really want to have to if I don't. So I'm going to mark this on the back. Okay. Because my bead is kind of big. All right, so we need to leave a little bit of room for that bead, that little extra there, so that we can shove that cording in, right? The gutter. Sew it on. So lifting the bead up. I think there is the center. Again, it's wire. We can tip it one way or the other a little bit. Now, oh, my favorite butter knife. Go like this, and like this, and on both sides. And I'm gonna press that nice and flat. The coolness of the butter knife makes it so it doesn't stick, and it'll just hold it enough to do what I need it to do. Now, we're going to do the other end. Okay. I'm actually going to use my other butter knife for this one because the other one got heated up a little bit. Nice and flat. course, doesn't hold. Shouldn't have traded butter knives. Wow, defiant little thing. Try that again. Wow. Okay. Just gonna prove me wrong on a lot of levels. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay. So now we have this down. All right. So here's the thing. How do you start and finish cording here? You don't. Okay? We are going to start and finish our cording at the bottom. All right? And this material isn't all that thick. Like the last one we had was velveteen. So I had to put a little spacer in here because the material was so thick there was a big gaping hole. But I'm not going to have to do that this time. So right now, what I want to do, it's very carefully because my glue didn't want to really work, is trace over to following this single line across that stitch. All right, we're going to mark one there. Oh dear. And with a tiny pin, it's like a gag pin. All right, so we can see this is the way, the direction of our needle point. Okay, now I leave a hole at the bottom for the glue. For the glue. Don't glue in the hole because you're going to need to put your cording in there. Okay, now here's the fun yet nauseating part. Okay, we're going to put this on and we're going to twist this, make sure it's centered, until they are parallel. Yep. This one I put in a little bit wonky, but yeah, can you see? So now you can tell, this one's going too far in, but you can tell that straight. So when you look sideways on the back line, the monogram, right, lines up when it hangs. So when it hangs, it's hanging straight, just like it's matching the front. Now, gotta push that down. Try not to get glue close to the edge because you don't want it squishing out like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you are mashing and all the jelly just squishes out all over. We only use the glue to help us hold it together for now, and then we're going to sew all the way around the edges with the cording, so this will keep it all together. Now I'm going to come along and run my finger. Now you got to be careful if this is velveteen because you don't want to push on it and screw up the edges. Now see here? I can see some little darts that I didn't push up nice and hard in there. Wow. Slacker. That is me being a slacker. But you know what? Actually, not a horrible thing. And do you know why? Because that's where the cording's going. All right, keep pushing this edge forward so that we eliminate 90% of the gutter. It is up to you if at this point you want to go ahead and sew the edge just for a little more stability. But I catch the material as I come through when I sew. So, so it really isn't, I don't find it necessary, but that's just me. And I know the reality is that some people are going to glue. If you're going to use glue, don't use hot glue to put cording on. Do not, do not, do not. It does not hold. If people don't store them correctly, or if you use low temperature glue or multi-temperature glue and they don't store them correctly and it's up in their attic and it gets really hot or really cold, then the glue becomes brittle. You want to use something that is acid free if you're going to do it. I mean, I don't do it, but the reality is I know some of you are do not have the hand strength, which I am very aware of that issue from arthritis, to be able to do the curved needle. And so I get that you're going to do it, but I request that you don't use hot glue. I prefer to use Fabri-Tac if I have to use any kind of glue. It's what I use on the Limoges box lids, because it holds forever and it's just, you got to use something on those lids. But I don't use the other stuff. So with that being said, let me get all my little goodies out of my ditty box here. My thimbles. One of the, this is to keep the fishing line from cutting me, and that is my favorite thumb. Guess I'm gonna have to take one out of here. Why do I have so many in here? I don't know. It's just where I keep them all. Okay, let's get some fishing line on here. And I use hot glue to anchor the knot so it doesn't constantly pull through. So I am making a knot. They call it, it's a fisherman's knot, typically, where you just go round and round until you make a nice big fat knot. I nip it on, and then I'm sorry, I gotta move my camera back a little bit because I'm about to have it very close to my person. All right, dowel needle or pokey tool, whatever you want to call it, is about to be needed. Okay, remember we're starting at the bottom. And I'm going to show you, if you have a piece that is pointy at the top, or you want to make a loop, but there just isn't enough space to have all of that cording going in and out of that one spot. I'm going to show you how to deal with that. Okay, let's get this in. Now it's going to be a little more difficult for me to deal with this, so ooh, my kitty bag is staring at you guys. Sorry about that. So with this wire, I don't want to bend as I'm doing it. Oh, this is, starting it was the biggest problem with this, with the first one, because I can't put it down on that wire. It's not good. All right, so I'm going to try to start it and end it there. When I put it in, I like the angle of that end to be just inside, because and angling like this right below the surface, because I want these to marry them together. They're going to need to be at a major angle to be able to get them to do what I want it to do at the end. All right. All right. This is the kind of boring part of sewing in. I'm going to start on this side because it feels like that bottom piece has a lot of glue. All right. Really far back towards me. Make sure you're still in focus. I have to turn off the autofocus because otherwise it's constantly adjusting as I'm moving my hand, and it kind of makes me nauseous when I see that on some videos. And it's like, okay, even if I'm a little out of focus, I'd rather be a little out of focus than have that. So even though I started on the inside to get my knot to hold, I want to grab a piece there, right? Oh, you're going to be a challenge, really? Okay, because we don't want to grab, we want it on this side to go this way, okay? Because we're going to pull that fishing line right back in to there, okay? Grab, pull forward, and tug. And we're pushing these beads forward and letting that fall in. Tricolored cording, I hate it. I'm sorry, but I do. I find that it's a lot busier and can sometimes detract from the lovely stitching on the piece. I tend to, if I'm given the choice, I tend to use monochromatic or tone-on-tone colors, so it's not quite as, okay, am I catching it? Be careful the fabrics that you choose, because when you are sewing cording on and you're pulling through this back fabric, certain silks and things can pucker. If you saw it earlier, I do have fusible interfacing on this ultra suede. It is a pseudo ultra suede. It is not a real lovely thick. It is a mock. Oof, silly thing. Faux ultra suede, I guess you might say, but it's the right color and it still looks really suedey and lovely. Okay. I don't usually see that issue. It's mainly with silks and taffetas where you will see the pull marks. It's just because of the weave. Okay, all right. I think we got all of those beads up front. Nobody got lost down under. All right. Ooh, I'm bending my top. Ah, humbug. Okay. Uh-oh. A bead almost escaped. Decided to hide. All right. I am always making sure as I'm coming around that I continue to kind of twist it, because otherwise it can untwist and make it look really tight here and then not so tight in other areas. Interesting factoid that I did not know that my friend from Cheryl Finishing told me, that when you are making that, pearl cotton should always be twisted to right or clockwise, because of how it is twisted to become pearl cotton. And it will not, sorry, I'm battling. It won't, you're going against the original twist of the fiber. So you have to have it go to the right for initial twist, to clockwise, then counterclockwise once both are together. I have had certain yarns do that to me, which forced me to do what I don't normally do, which is go counterclockwise, then clockwise. All right, I'm trying to kind of catch this metal. There. I want to get a little extra help for our, looks pretty good. Not too many tug marks on the back, pull marks. I'm going to do this through. All right. It doesn't matter with Krynic, because Krynic is a different type. It's basically a plastic. But the way that the pearl cotton is done, and the only reason I didn't know this is because I just from the very beginning have always done it clockwise. Learned that not too long ago too. Oof, it's kind of warm up here. Sun hits this end of the barn and gets a little hot in my studio, even though it's a tiny bit chilly out today because of whatever. The lovely windstorms that we've had recently, I guess. Okay, just looking. All right, almost there, guys, almost there. Edge and up. Trying not to grab that. Get on the back side, the needlepoint. Okay. You should be able to pull this fishing line right in between your colors. And I always do it needlepoint on this side, fabric on that side, because if it's going to show, I want it to accidentally show whatever. I want it to show on the back, not on the face. I don't want little highlights of fishing line around my edge. All right. Okay. What's that? twisting a little. Make sure I'm still looking kind of even. Right. And this curved needle right here is part of why I have bad arthritis. The other is genetics. My family has major history of arthritis, especially in their hands. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Now I'm going to stop for a second. And the reason why I don't take this tail off beforehand and don't clip it all the way around is because I'm twisting as I'm going. And so then what happens is if I had measured around it, just laying it around, then I could have accidentally gone too short. So I definitely need a decent lead to slide in and be able to manipulate to marry these together. And I can tell that that white and that red are going to blend right in there. I'm hoping. So knot it around about there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, making sure not to cut my fishing line, which is right there. Now, I'm going to try to kind of see how much. All right, I want to take this. I want to compress. So, hold on. I got to take that thumb thing off. Okay, and I'm licking my fingers and I'm making that flat. Flat, flat, flat. This not only allows me a flat area to force in there, using my dowel needle, it'll stop me from pulling through that fishing line at the end. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can do this without being overly clumsy about it. I'm gonna shove that in. Okay. Right. Pushing this in, and I'm running it just under, and I want to keep it like right below this other. Look, it's almost there. It's almost there. So what we do is we now move to the front one and push that white edge, that white down. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull that one like that. Can't be afraid to manipulate those colors into what you want. Okay, we are here. My bit is there. I'm going to come through the blue one. And I'm going to come up right where this white one is. Okay. I'll pull that tight. Yep. Okay. Then, because that white is the one I really want to meld together, I'm going to slide it between the white and the blue. Right? I just find it can be daunting to do. Okay, now I'm holding these tight together, right? Okay. And I'm sliding this into the blue fabric that I got too much glue close to the edge. You know what? I want tinier holes here, which means tinier needle, curved needle. All right. Okay. Toot, 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 toot. Okay. Like that. I'm going to push that under. Need to manipulate it a little because I was just yanking on it with my giant needle. So I'm going to grab out a little further. Try not to create a pull mark. Good luck with that, Kelly. Okay. Pushing it together so it's not going to stress about coming together. Now, I left a big portion of this unstitched when I started. So I'm going to come up past where I think I need it. Okay. And that's going to get pushed. And I'm going to hit it with one more stitch in the white. And I'm going to bury my knot over here. Okay. Oop, booger. Sorry. I'm going to bury my knot over here. Now, right now, it looks a little wonky. But it's just because I got to go back and kind of manipulate it. I'm going to try to grab through to the needle point to make my knot. Okay, and I'm going to wrap it and wrap it, hold it tight, pull it through. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Grabbing the needle point in the front, sliding that hopefully, nope, I caught the cording. Trying not to catch anything so that that knot will sink all the way back in. Okay. All right. So, and what do we do when we have this? We string it back up through. We come out the front side, pull it tight, and cut it so that leaves a nice big lead for your knot so it won't just come popping out. Now, I have a boo-boo, and it is, that's okay. There, I got it. I got it. I got it. Crisis averted. All right. Now I need to push this down in a little bit. Okay, just run your finger over it, manipulate it. Look at that. Okay. If you wanna, I don't like to start it on the edge and end it on an edge because it's more visible. But here it is, right? Here, we'll push it back again. So here we are. All right, and it is straight. And when I look at it from the side, looks straight. Okay, so next, bow time. We are making 2 bows. We are using a satin. Got to take off all my thumb stuff. I'm going to move this back towards me because I'm going to probably be making my bow here. Now, actually, I don't want those to go too far. Oh, I fibbed. I don't care if it goes too far. Just hot enough they want to stick to me. So we're tying this to the top. And you know what? Because we're tying it to the top, we are going to tie it with a bow, with a piece of ribbon. So I want a nice, decent length of ribbon to do this. So I will be tying the ribbon around here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's do another one. I may regret this. I may do it completely different after I give it a shot, but okay. So the picture looks like it's probably 1, 2, couple loops. Yeah. All right. So, and for this size, I'm going to say, 1.25 inches. I'm totally guessing it. That's how far it is. Okay. So let me start again. This does look to me like it is sort of directional ribbon there as a top. So I am going to leave a little tail here, and I'm going to first put these together, and you pinch, okay? And then you pull this in, and yeah, stuff it, pinch it right behind the top one, okay? Now I'm going to do 3 loops, I think. 3 sets, sorry. And pinch. Okay, kind of straighten them a little. All right, and we're going to pull that. And what I just did is the piece that's behind it, I twisted it and shoved it up under my thumb. Now I go around my thumb, and so that means that this is gonna have a chubby center thing because I got a plump thumb. It's really hard for me to do tiny, tiny bows because of that. The centers always look weird. Okay, so there's, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna make 4 sets. So the 2 middle will be the same size. And we're gonna push and manipulate them. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller than that one. Okay. All right. Pull, pull, okay. Looks good-ish. All right. Okay, for kicks and giggles, I am using fishing line for the initial, because this is pretty thick ribbon and I'm afraid it might not cinch down the way I want it to. Okay, that looks sort of like the center. I know. What do you mean it might not be the center? Well, sometimes you get done tying them and... Okay, I gotta use my teeth. I'm holding that down with my finger so that the fishing line doesn't loosen. Okay. Like so. Still a little loose. Okay. So my concern with how I was going to do it prior to this is that if I run the ribbon through the center and use it to tie it off, that when I tie it on the back, it'll tie this way and then I won't tie correctly the other way, which I guess I'll just have to show you so you understand. And if I get it to do what I want it to do, then I can just cut off these little tails. So if you don't want to use the fishing line, you can feed a piece of ribbon. Sometimes it's nice just to have the fishing line on there so that you know it's not going to do it. I want you, before you get this on, break down that fatness. Just crimp the heck out of it, okay? This satin is heavy and I want it to, and even, you know, see how I kind of twisted that over and halved it? Okay. And guess what? I'm going to just commit and cut these pieces off. Okay. So, but I still have the benefit of the fishing line in there helping me hold it all together while I do this. In my mouth. Nice and tight. Right? So, doing this, you gotta make sure to pull the knot up on the back. So grab it like that and kind of manipulate it, pull it. All right. Definitely a good thing to have that other stuff in there. Now, I just had a thought. Because we have this ring, and this is what I'm talking about with the whole directional issue, when you tie it in like this and you bring it around the back and you cross it over and now you have this tie here, it's a vertical tie. So if I try to put it on around here, right, my bow is going to look like this instead of like this. But we have this very nice loop in the top. So we go like this, right? Go like this. Okay. But we're not going to tie it here. No, no, no. Eh. Yeah, maybe we will. I was going to go around to the front, but I don't want some weird little knot in the front. Okay. And now I'm going to do it again. Okay. And knot. Okay. And now we grab hold of it so it's nice and secure. And we pull and tug on our loops. And we cut. Manipulate our center back up again. That's not too horrible. I'll stand by that one. Now, let's see if I can do it twice. Ha! And cut. I will probably run a stitch through that. Maybe, if I can get it through that knot. Sometimes when the stuff compresses. There. Not bad. Okay. Let's see if we can do it twice. Oh, I gotta have this down here for measurement purposes. Okay. All right. So, 1.25 inches. Yeah, that looks right. I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, pinch, pinch. Next set up, a little bit bigger, see it? So I am grabbing this and bringing it around. I can't just bring it over because the back side is, the weave is different. So this is directional ribbon. So you always have to make sure that that outer edge is this way, facing front. Okay, now I'm pinching it and pushing it down under that loop, right? So I do that, but then, wait, what? I just pulled that up under my thumb. This is how we get our lovely big fat center in there. Fat thumb syndrome. And let me see, do I have a piece? Oh, look at that. Sometimes those unused pieces of fishing line come in handy later. Okay, I think I might be getting a little bit bigger than the other one, but I think we're okay. We throw in our little and our little. And we're going to do it the exact same way we did it the last time because we want consistency. And if I try to just put the blue on, what'll happen? It won't cinch up as tight as the other one. Ah, come on, stop hitting my cuticle and go through. So as a florist, I would do this, well, depending on what it's for, with, oh, it's not really the center, is it? All right, you're getting all mucked up. This guy looks longer than these guys. All right, come on. Work it over. I do it with wire typically. And then that allows for even better cinching down because you twist the wire back into itself, into the back. Kind of like what happened to these. Hate it when I break that fishing line off with my teeth. Okay. Now, see? One side's really big, the other's really small. It's not centered very well, right? All right, so you hold the fishing line, right? You got to kind of remember how they went together. You pull this loop a little, that looks even. You pull this loop a little, much better. Oof, caught on my thumb. I'm squeezing that loop a little. Okay, good, good, good. Good and good. Oh, stinking fat thumb. I think I gotta do it with this last one too. Do it? Or is you gonna... How about we do that? Pull the tail. Yeah, pull the tail. Not the cat. The bow tail. Okay. So I'm going to snip those off. A lot of times when I'm sewing it on, I'll put a dollop of glue there to hold that knot so that as I'm manipulating it, it doesn't get stupid and pop off. I'm rolling, I'm twisting. Okay. I'm folding over that ribbon in the center so it's skinnier. Jeez, it was only that way for a lot of things. Just that easy. Just fold it over. It'll disappear. Get skinnier. All right. Okay. Little adjustment. Make sure it's not horribly misshapen. And there. We put it through. There. Right? And kind of pull that. And when we tie it, let's hope this one goes straight. Ish. A little wonky. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to untie it. And I know part of it is the, and I'm going to tie it from this side. Part of it is this and how this little circle on the top is. I'm trying to come at tying it on at a different angle. It can work. Doesn't mean it will in this instant, but it can sometimes. Okay, so now, okay. All right, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Still a little misshapen. I don't want to bend my wire out of shape, so it's tough. It is not the easiest hanger just from the standpoint of, oh, there we go. Make sure it's not bending forward. Okay, because I over manipulated it. We're going to give it a little. Oh, you're just a floppy little silly thing, aren't you? Oh, sprang up like alfalfa. Look at that. Okay. Cut them off a little shorter. I guess I could steam it down or something, but you know what? I'm just gonna let it be free. Okay. Okay. Let me see. That way. Okay. Okay. Pretty close. I think I got a little conservative on the size of these loops, maybe. And this ornament is a tad bit bigger, so. All right, my friends. I hope this gave you some great skill ideas as far as marrying something at the bottom and doing a different type of hanger. Don't be afraid to experiment. You could do something similar to this where you bead the whole thing. Lots of options, lots of options. So good luck and happy finishing.